Hello and welcome to another edition of the Morning Update live on NTN. My name is Jessie Leonce. Here and now we begin NTN's May experience with you. We do hope that you're keeping safe out there. Another month where the protocols are being observed. Please continue to adhere to the protocols. Although significant stride has been made with vaccination, we have not yet in St. Lucia achieved herd immunity with respect to COVID-19. So please continue to adhere to the protocols. If you're joining on air online, a special good morning to you, residents in St. Lucia, St. Lucians in the diaspora, as well as well-wishers globally who are constantly checking in on the welfare of St. Lucia. We really do appreciate you checking in. Now we have the latest developments from the government of St. Lucia for you for today, the 3rd of May 2021. The locations for vaccinations here on island today, that is the 3rd of May, Sufer Hospital Grounds, VG Sports Complex, and the Denry Mothers Preschool. We're going to get into the vaccination talk in just a moment, coming off of the observance by the Ministry of Health of Vaccination Week, observed in the last week of April. So we will be hearing from some of the panelists of an event that was just organized by the ministry. But first, we do have word on the Ministry of Infrastructure working assiduously to restore the Bada after a major landslide. Now, this is word last on Friday, so please take note of this update. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, and the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labor, they continue to assess the damage that was sustained following the heavy rains occurring during the early hours of Thursday morning. The rains were due to a combination of weather systems, a mid to upper level trough, together with an upper level jet stream. The main access route between the north and south of the island, the Bada, was damaged, disrupting travel. Overnight, teams were working, that was Thursday evening, to stabilize the section of the road in the aftermath of the landslide. We have Herma Demac, who prepared a story. Take a look at our first report for the morning.
The Ministry of Infrastructure is spearheading an emergency response to a landslide that occurred along the Bada as a result of high-intensity rains early Thursday, April 29, 2021. Minister for Infrastructure Honorable Stephenson King, at a media briefing, said the situation is being managed as contractors are undertaking remedial works to bring relief to residents and commuters.
So today, as you've been told, we are here. There is a contractor on site attempting to bring what I call temporary relief to the situation, and that includes the piping of the existing drain northbound to the left to allow for the continuation of the water to flow, but preparing it in a way that will increase the carriageway to allow a two-way traffic in the next few hours and for the next few days and maybe weeks, while the geotechnical investigations are done and the necessary engineering and other design activities are taken for possible future intervention.
Speaking to the seriousness of the situation, Deputy Chief Engineer in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Len Leon, says the landslide revealed erosion of the undercarriageway. The situation, he explains, requires further assessment to decide upon a permanent solution. However, plans are underway to mitigate the issue and allow flow of traffic.
As you can see behind me is works going on to extend the carriageway on the upper side of the carriageway. This is being done using crushed stone. We've already embedded Wasco pipes underneath to continuously have the surface runoff water being able to continue down the Bada. We are filling up right now with crusher run. We shall compact it and stabilize it, and then we shall put an asphalt surfacing on the top to make the actual carriageway hopefully at least 6.3 meters wide, allowing vehicles to move in both directions.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ivor Daniels, says they are working with utility companies to ensure these services are restored.
I believe the power is restored. The water supply, I do not believe that there's much of it going through here, but I think the other utilities like Flow perhaps are now trying to restore their own utility. But I think one of the critical ones, is electricity, it is energy. So that has been restored in this area, making it as safe as possible. Because we also need to maneuver, sooner or later, an excavator below there, and it has to maneuver very safely to ensure that we can restore the retaining wall.
Superintendent of Police Elvis Thomas on the safety of pedestrians says there are mechanisms in place to accommodate emergency personnel and people traveling to and from work using a shuttle system.
So what we are doing, we have persons on either points managing who comes in. Persons can walk to a certain point. There are shuttles that are available. We have persons on the ground who will manage how persons walk through the area. It's not just a matter of coming through, but they will have designated areas to go through. There are persons who are assigned to ensure that those persons walking through are safe and no accident happens. So we want persons to be rest assured that we are doing everything in our power to work with them to ensure that they get to work, but at the same time, the work here is completed.
The superintendent cautions the public against spectator visits to the site and asks for cooperation and patience as the situation is being remedied. From the Government Information Service, Huma Mark reporting.
Thank you, Huma, for that report. Again, caution against the spectators going in and having a good look, ogling at the situation. It's not safe until we get the all clear from the Ministry of Infrastructure. You would recall the Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan. They recently launched their website, errp.info, and it's just helping the general public and the ministry itself, all of the ministries involved, be able to keep track of the achievements that are being attained under this plan of the government. The St. Lucia Development Bank, one of the collaborators in this effort, has to date approved a blended finance of up to $1.5 million to households and the business community as part of those interventions under the ERRP. Under its pillar to stimulate the economy, that is the plan's pillar to stimulate the economy, the government of St. Lucia partnered with the SLDB to offer $8.4 million in loan and grant support to medium, small and micro enterprises with a focus on food security and the adoption of digital technologies, and also a $5 million allocation for working capital injection program. Managing Director Vincent Boland did speak to us on Friday, and that was as part of the Bankers Association of St. Lucia information sessions, orienting the general public on what the financial institutions are doing right now in response to COVID-19. And in our sit down with Mr. Boland, he did give us an update on the work and the contribution of the SLDB in facilitating the interventions of the government of St. Lucia. He did indicate that the programs have drawn tremendous response by the public so far.
We totaled about 119 inquiries.
Okay.
We have generated applications of about $2.5 million. We have approvals of up to $1.5 million, and we are disbursing that, as needed, as persons get all the information that we need, we're able to disburse. It's a broad spectrum. We've seen people come from the preschools, we've seen farmers, we've seen hairdressers, we've seen, small restaurants, medium-sized restaurants, people who were able to collate their information and then come to us and say, listen, this is what I need. And they've received the grant, as well as the small loan. And you're seeing that they're looking at working capital to be able to reposition their business, to pay some of their staff.
And despite the immense reception that Mr. Boland has indicated by the public, the majority of the combined allocations for the two programs is at $13.4 million. When you put that against the approval so far, which is $1.5 million, there is a large gap there in terms of persons being able to truly take advantage of those programs. They have indicated that the full amount has yet to be taken up by the households and the business community in wake of the pandemic. Boland did explain a critical factor that has been impeding this application process.
Persons don't have records readily available.
Okay.
So we asked for, hey, the World Bank, certain conditions were put in. For instance, you had to show that you had a 30% reduction in your revenue. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, now most businesses will tell you yes.
They feel a pinch.
We had a drastic decline, and we're saying, okay, well, let's see that. Let's see your management accounts. Now, for the smaller business, it's not that readily available. They have to either go and take their bank statements and then come up with, you know, the information to show, listen, this is what I earned before, and this is what has happened to me now. So we're still grappling with that and working through, and we have actually adopted an approach internally to try and see how best we can assist them in generating the information.
That was SLDB Managing Director, Mr. Vincent Boland. The bank continues to welcome the applications for the 2 programs that are listed under the ERRP. We are due for our first break this morning. When we come back, we have to go over the latest updates from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with respect to COVID-19. Also, to remind you of the locations for vaccination today, and I'll give perhaps Tuesday and Wednesday so you can appropriately schedule if you're interested. And also, we're headed back to the Parliament tomorrow. A sitting of the House of Assembly has been scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, May 4th. Stay tuned for those updates and more coming up on the other end of this break.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one, and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is Saint Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is the Morning Update live on NTN. We're coming to you from the Information Command Center, bringing you the latest developments from the government of St. Lucia. A sitting of the House of Assembly has been scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, the 4th of May, with papers to be laid by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service, as well as Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industry, Enterprise Development and Consumer Affairs. The House will also consider a motion to Parliament to further extend the state of emergency. The proposed extension is for an additional period of 5 months, commencing from the 17th day of May 2021 and ending on the 16th day of October 2021 in accordance with Section 17(6) of the Constitution of St. Lucia, Cap 1.01. St. Lucia has been under a state of emergency approved by Parliament that commenced 11th February 2021 and ending 16th May 2021. A number of bills are also down for consideration, including counter-trafficking amendment and tourism stimulus and investment amendment. A Tuesday sitting is scheduled to commence at 10 a.m. The sitting of the Senate is also scheduled for Thursday, May 6th, 2021 at 10 a.m. Of course, you are reminded that as part of the protocols established for the management of COVID-19, members of the public will not be allowed in the chamber gallery during the sittings. The public can view the live proceedings as usual on the National Television Network NTN Channel 122, the Government of St. Lucia Facebook page and YouTube channel. So please tune in for that. We should be hearing the different perspectives and of the parliamentarians, the government, the representatives on this proposed extension for an additional 5 months of the state of emergency. We continue this morning with an update from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, vaccination sites, as well as cases of COVID-19. There are 8 cases to report as of May 1st. So that was the latest word we received from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And that was on Saturday. The ministry received confirmation of 8 new cases from the Ezra Long Lab. And this is from a batch of 171 samples taken from the 28th to the 29th of April. And these individuals were all seen at the various community respiratory clinics where they were assessed for COVID-19. The usual, pending the outcome of their tests, they were asked to isolate. And now that they have been confirmed, well, those who have been confirmed are now being taken in for care. And the contact tracing for these new cases is underway. Confirmation of recoveries has also been received. 5 individuals who've been diagnosed with COVID-19 have recovered at this time, bringing the total number of active cases in country to 113. We seem to be seesawing between the 90s and early hundreds plus. Presently, the 2 of the active cases require critical care at the respiratory hospital. The new cases bring the total number of cases that have been diagnosed in St. Lucia since last year of March to 4,560. As of April 30th, a total of 24,426 individuals received their first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and 3,853, almost 4,000 individuals received their second dose. If you are interested in getting vaccinated, you can go onto the website, the online platform hmi.govt to pre-register. Or if you don't have access to an online platform, you can visit the nearest community wellness center, health center in your area. Let them know that you're interested and they can pre-register on your behalf. So this week, just to let you know where you can get vaccinated this week, today vaccinations are happening at the Suffolk Hospital grounds, the VG Sports Complex, and the Denry Mothers Preschool. Tomorrow, if you have time, if you're interested, if you've made up your mind about getting vaccinated or you want to get the second dose, you can go to the Philip Marsley grounds, Darren Sammy Cricket grounds, the Larry Shoes Denry Parish Hall, Jack Mill Wellness Center, Cicero Wellness Center. On Wednesday, the 5th of May, 2021, you can go to the Bellevue Wellness Center, Denry Mothers Preschool, VG Sports Complex, the Etang Wellness Center for vaccinations. And on Thursday, Miku Multipurpose Center and Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds. So these are the locations you could go get vaccinated this week. We will keep you updated throughout the week. I will remind you during the parliamentary proceedings, we usually have the morning updates. So we'll just give you a gentle reminder of those locations so you can take advantage if you are interested. So as we indicated earlier, 24,426 receiving their first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca and 3,853 receiving their second dose. We are now in phase 2 of the COVID-19 vaccine campaign. At this time, just want to remind you, the Ministry of Health is targeting people in the education, commercial, as well as the tourism and transportation sector. So please take note of that. We did have the commemoration of Vaccination Week happening the last week of April, the 24th to the 30th. St. Lucia joined the Americas in commemorating this observance. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is decided to sensitize the public, quite apt considering the ongoing vaccination campaign for COVID. Did decide to sensitize the public on the importance of vaccines. During a panel discussion which was held this past Friday, Assistant Principal Nursing Officer and National Immunization Manager, Tekla Jabati, she's always excited to talk about vaccines. She explained that the National Immunization Program in St. Lucia is some 44 years old, having begun in 1977. The program commenced with just about 3 vaccines and has since expanded to what exists today, what obtains today. Jean-Baptiste indicated that while many successes have been recorded to date, there have been challenges as well.
You know, it's really a good thing to see that, you know, we've maintained vaccination coverage of approximately 90 to 99%. Wow. You know, in our in the various antigens. Of course, we have some challenges, and I will continue to say that our challenges is more or less with the over 1-year-olds. This is when we tend to see a decline in the coverage for obvious reasons. You know, some people feel after a child has passed a year, it's almost like for them they're out of the woods. You know, they tend to kind of be a little late. They tend to be a little laid back at that point. But of course, we've noted it as a I won't say a gap, but something of concern. And for us in the program, we continually monitor, evaluate, re-strategize to ensure that we sustain and we maintain the coverages, the recommended coverages.
We also had Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Glensford Joseph, on the panel, and he noted that while various vaccines may be available for the same virus, the doses to achieve the desired effect may vary. Dr. Joseph explained how medical experts determine the dosage.
They would recognize that the body's immune response would, move to a certain level in terms of the level of antibodies being produced, and would recognize that if they gave a second dose, then the level of antibodies or the immune response is even more robust.
Right.
And so that if one dose is going to give you some, let's say, 60% or so efficacy or effectiveness, then priming that response with a second dose would allow you to get to a higher level. Now, with the AstraZeneca, we have seen that the second dose would allow us to have some 70% or so level of efficacy, or you're reducing the risk of developing the severe form of the illness, that is, by some 70%.
So naturally, the panel discussion zoned in on the COVID-19 vaccination. So common side effects of the vaccine that we're using here in St. Lucia, which is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19, include fever, chills, headache, and malaise, to name a few. And these, according to the National Immunization Manager, should subside in 24 to 28 hours. However, if side effects persist or become more severe, the individual is advised to seek medical care. We had community pediatrician Dr. Lucia explaining the cause of the side effects.
Those side effects are the result of the reaction of the vaccine in the body, because as it's inside the immune response to produce what Dr. Joseph said, antibodies and some cells, there are also some old innate response that will be incited, like production of cytokines. So we know when anybody gets a vaccine, those will be incited too, and those are some of the things that will cause the fever, the headache, the feeling unwell. So usually it accompanies all of those vaccines, and the physician will prepare whoever is taking that you may feel this and you may feel that. And we see that with other drugs.
That was Dr. Olugbemisola Ogunlusi, the community pediatrician within the Ministry of Health. St. Lucia has administered, as we indicated, over 24,000 first doses and nearly 5,000 second doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca to date. As the ministry continues to roll out the campaign, everyone is being encouraged to get vaccinated. We continue with updates this morning. The Althea Foundation, JetBlue, and the Commission of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, are working together to deliver much-needed relief supplies to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. At this time, the volcano continues to erupt. There have not been explosive eruptions in the last 24 to 48 hours, but it continues to erupt. The first in a series of shipments in St. Lucia arrived in St. Lucia on Friday, the 23rd of April, via JetBlue for immediate onward shipping to St. Vincent. There are many persons who continue to be displaced, many persons who have not been able to return to life as normal, and so these shipments are very critical by regional, international agencies, also friendly nations, providing assistance at this time. The relief supplies include urgently needed items such as face masks, face shields, blankets, gloves, isolation gowns, and adult diapers. Director General Dr. Dedicus Jules thanked the organizations for their generous contributions and collaboration to expeditiously get the supplies to St. Vincent.
OECS Commission would like to express its sincerest appreciation to the AFIA Foundation for sending $206,000 worth of medical supplies that include adult pampers and face masks and PPE gear, and particularly masks that might be helping people with respiratory problems in the face of the ash in the air to manage this situation. We are particularly grateful to JetBlue for having shipped that stuff to St. Lucia free of cost for the foundation, and we are responsible for ensuring now that it gets on to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in good condition. We also want to express thanks to the medical professionals on the move and Direct Relief, who also played a role in helping us to link up with the AFIA Foundation in order to have that support provided.
Now, eruptions began in St. Vincent at the La Soufrière site as early as December last year. However, the explosive eruption started in April, and 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, the individuals in St. Vincent had to deal with the sporadic eruptions, also accompanied by pyroclastic flows, and it continued to force residents further south of the island. The resident, it's still the red zone at this time, according to the word that we're receiving from the Seismic Research Center. It continues to remain a red zone, and for individuals who have been forced to the south of the island seeking refuge in shelters and in neighboring islands, it is really a challenge adjusting. These people continue to remain displaced. The OECS Commission has launched the Stronger Together campaign as an official emergency response on behalf of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And meanwhile, we have the Rotary Club of St. Lucia partnering with Cabot St. Lucia to provide assistance to that island. We have more in this report. Take a look.
The St. Lucia business community continues to exercise their corporate social responsibility, contributing to relief efforts in St. Vincent. The latest show of support came from Cabot St. Lucia as they collaborated with the Rotary Club of St. Lucia to supply water and water storage tanks to St. Vincent and the Grenadines relief program. CFO of Cabot St. Lucia, Rita Hawkins, says the company is delighted to collaborate with the Rotary Club of St. Lucia as they both prioritize service to others above self.
We've donated water and water tanks because water is an essential element of life, and we understand now St. Vincent does not have much water. Everything is contaminated with ash, and so we thought that this would be the first port of call. I mean, we may look at some more aid down the road as things progress, but at the moment we think water is important for the people, and hence the reason why we made this donation.
Speaking on the partnership with Cabot St. Lucia, the International Service Director of Rotary St. Lucia, Albert Daniels, says he is tasked with creating linkages to help bring relief to individuals in distress.
We were really happy when Cabot reached out to us and offered to make this donation of water to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent, because across the district of the 7030, we have a family of Rotary with Rotarians on the ground in every country, ready and willing to respond to disasters. So we're very grateful to Cabot for making this donation, and our sisters and brothers in Rotary clubs in St. Vincent will be the implementing arm in ensuring that this donation from a fantastic corporate citizen will go a long way to meeting the needs in this time of disaster.
Lindy Ariste, Acting Deputy Director of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, says the entity is heartened by the efforts and support received from Cabot and the corporate community.
We are very much aware that it is in times like these that we all need each other, and we are happy that they have made a contribution in reducing the pain and some of the pressure of our colleagues in our sister isles, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are very grateful, even more so, if I may add, that the collaboration with Rotary Club of St. Lucia in assisting and ensuring that our persons in St. Vincent
life is a lot easier for those persons, and even more so that they'll be able to return to a state of normalcy in the near future.
Aristide encouraged the populace to continue the positive trend of lending support to the neighboring island. From the Government Information Service, I'm Humadi Mark.
Thank you, Huma, for that. We've come to the end of our morning update live on NTN. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Before I leave, just want to let you know that at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will be hosting the live broadcast of the launch of a parenting program, much anticipated parenting program under the Youth Empowerment Project in collaboration with the Division of Human Services. And this is under the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment. The parenting program launch, as I indicated, will be going live at 2 p.m. under the tagline, Empowering Families to Enrich Lives. So we encourage you to tune in. If you are a parent, you want to get some more information as to what this program is all about, you are a guardian, you can tune in to find out how you can improve your household with this very valuable initiative of the YEP. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Jessie Leon signing off for now. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Keep safe until we meet again tomorrow morning, same time, but from the House of Parliament. Please be reminded, we will be going to the House for a sitting of the House of Assembly. Cheers, enjoy.